Hello, everyone. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, YouTube. And good morning, Facebook. It has been a week in Cotton Cuts land. Holy cow. It is 9:30. It is Cotton Cuts time. This is our normal time. The past two live shows have been our not normal time. But you guys, it has been a week in land. I apologize for those of you on Instagram. The camera's going to be a little weird today because this is our third different configuration of the set this week because, why not go big or go home, right? Why not have a lot of big shows? Thank you guys so much. I'm seeing people checking in from all over. So guys, St. Louis, as I mentioned earlier, Monday we had 2 inches of snow that shut the whole city down for 24 hours, right? Kids canceled school, 2 inches of snow, blah, 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 blah. So today it's 20 degrees outside because of course it is. And that's how this is going to work in St. Louis. So a bright, sunny, below zero day in Minnesota. Kim's creating. That's fantastic. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I see people are signing up for Field of Dreamers. We're going to be talking about that in a little bit. All right, give me a second here, gang. I'm going to try and fix this Instagram camera. Sorry, guys, on Instagram. For some reason, our little camera on Instagram, it's not wanting to stay still. So I'm just going to see if I can get it fixed. And if not, then you guys might be looking at the ceiling for a period of time. So this is the inside secret sauce, gang, because this is what happens when we are trying to get things together for you guys. Okay, we're just going to leave it. Okay, we're going with that on Instagram. So good luck. All right, so here we are. We're going to start as we always do with questions that have been submitted by you guys. So go to cottoncuts.com/live to submit your questions for us. These are here when I sit down. I don't see them ahead of time. Paula screens through them. And so who knows what adventure we're going to go on today. All right. So our first question comes to us from Sarah Mitchell from Portland, Oregon. Thank you so much for your question, Sarah. Sarah asks, I'm fairly new to quilting and I keep hearing people talk about their UFOs. What does that mean? And is it normal to have several projects going at once? Okay. So Sarah, a UFO. So UFO is an unfinished object in the quilting world. In the quilting world, that's what a UFO means. There's also a WIP, which is a work in progress. I don't know. I feel do you guys like UFOs or do you like WIPs? I feel like I'm a UFOer, but I know a lot of people are WIPs. And so ultimately, Sarah, what that means is it's a project that you've started and haven't finished it, or it's a project that you're in progress on. And I know that we as quilters, we like to collect fabric. We like to collect projects. We like to collect patterns. Well, we also like to collect WIPs and UFOs. And so you guys, I don't think that's a requirement to be a quilter. I think it's just something that happens with quilters as you get going on a project and then all of a sudden something comes up and displaces it, either quilting related or life related, and it goes on a hold shelf. It could be something displaced it, or you didn't like it and you wanted to put it aside and give your brain a break and come back to it. There was a lot of repetition. You weren't in love with the fabrics. There could have been literally anything wrong with it. And so there's just these things that we do that, here, hold on. Paula's going to try and fix the camera. No, we're just going to leave that, Paula. Okay. Oh, PhDs. So Jana, I forget what PhD is. You're going to have to remind me what PhD means. And here, of course, my earring falls out. This is the day we're having today, gang. Okay. So UFOs. And I feel like this is something that we kind of build into. Nobody starts out quilting, especially an earth quilter, and is like, I'm going to start a project I'm not going to finish. This is my jam. This is what I am going to do. I'm going to start and I'm just not going to finish it. And I feel like we just kind of grow into it over time. I do admire and love, projects half done. PhDs. I love that, Jana. So for me, I do admire the people that I do one project completely. I finish it. It's quilted. It's bound before I jump onto the next. Those people have a high level of discipline. I love you. I appreciate you. I am not that person. I aspire to be that person. And also there's some constraints, right? If you've got a smaller sewing space, you don't have room to store fabric and projects and bins and totes and get everything labeled and organized. And so I think that there's room for everybody. Sarah, I would say if you talk about UFOs, as some people consider it a badge of pride. So if I was to ask this group, how many UFOs do you have right now? I think we've asked that question before. People are going to put in all sorts of numbers, boop, 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 boop. And it's almost a sign of pride. And then there's other people that are ashamed and embarrassed to say how many UFOs they have. And I feel like we should just normalize it. Everyone has projects that you've started and haven't finished. I'm seeing questions about, some people are saying that a UFO is technically something you haven't touched in over 2 years. I feel like if you haven't touched it in over 2 years, Pat, you might want to give it away to someone else to finish. That might give them joy finishing and being able to complete it. And it would lessen your load and your burden that you're carrying. Michelle says she has 8 UFOs, right? And I also see some people saying that block of the months, right? So a lot of the Cotton Cuts programs are a 10-month program. We're about to start talking about Tim Holtz, which is a 12-month program. I don't think that's technically a UFO. I think that's more a work in progress because it's not an unfinished object. It's in process. And so I feel like maybe that's kind of our differentiation there. If it's something that you're working on it actively still and you've caught up as much as you can, it's a whip. But yeah, I feel like all of those hit the category of projects that are interim. Unless, I don't know. Do we have folks out there that if you're doing a puzzle mystery quilt, that's the only project you're working on and you are a single focus and you don't want to finish it halfway? That I'd be interested to learn about. Is your PMQ your one project? Now, I know for me, when I had my full-time job and I only had a limited time to sew, my puzzle mystery quilt was my one project. That was my one joy. That was the one time I got to sit and sew each month. I didn't have a lot of other interim projects because I knew I would start them and not get them done. But the puzzle mystery quilt I knew could be one that I could sit, sew, and get beginning to middle to end. Let's see here. Gianna's saying she count ones that she didn't even start yet. I don't think it can't be unfinished if it's not started, and it can't be a work in progress if it's not in progress. So I think those, we might have a new category, Jana. I would love it if you came up with a new name for it. It's not a PhD, it's not half done, it's not even started. We need a name for our pre-process projects. And Teresa says, I have the best of intentions to finish a project on time, but sometimes health and life gets in the way. Lots of projects I plan on finishing this winter. Yes, Teresa, I feel like that's the story, right? Everyone has the best of intentions. You start out with a high energy. You want to finish the project. Otherwise, why start it? And then life gets in the way and things happen. And so I feel like, when we're thinking, Sarah, about these UFOs, it's probably a whole nother topic on how we sort, organize, plan, manage our UFOs to get them to done. Transparently, when I was thinking about this, I was talking with a friend about it, and they said, so what if someone was to come into your quilt room and take all of your UFOs and finish them for you, and you had nothing, you had no UFOs? So I want everyone to think about that if you had no UFOs in your room, if everything was done by some, gnome angels that came out and finished all your projects, what would that feel like to you? Would you like that or would you not like that? And for me, I definitely would not like that. I would be like, my blood pressure might change. Like, it would be very destabilizing to not have all these works and projects. But I would love for you guys to think about that. If all of your partially finished projects were done, what would you do? How would that make you feel? That's a fun little thought project. Okay. Thank you so much for your question, Sarah. I appreciate it. All right. Our next question comes to us from Marcus Chen from Austin, Texas. Good morning, Marcus. Thank you so much for your question. Let's see here. Marcus asks, I love the idea of mystery quilts, but I'm worried about ending up with the design I don't like. How do you deal with that uncertainty? Okay. So Marcus, this is a great question because in order to participate in any sort of mystery program, specifically mystery quilts, you have to be willing to let go of a measure of control, because there is something you are not going to know with the finished design. And so all mystery programs are structured differently. Sometimes you get your choice in fabric and sometimes you don't, and you have to relinquish that control of fabric. Sometimes you get your choice in the final pattern design and sometimes you don't. You have to relinquish control of pattern. Sometimes technique is new, and so you have to relinquish control of the techniques. And so in order to participate in the mystery, before you even think about signing up, before you even join on, how much control are you willing to let go of? And so in that case, right, I participate in lots of different types of mysteries. I've done, different types sponsored by different companies in different structures. They provided fabric. I've picked fabric. I've had all the ups and downs that you would typically have with a mystery. But how much control are you willing to let go? And one of the things I love about the Cotton Cuts puzzle mystery quilt is that you get to pick your fabrics, right? This is not you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. You get your choice. Everyone is experiencing this today and tomorrow as they're signing up for Fill the Dreamers. You get to pick which fabric you want. That is unique because there are some, and I remember there was a cave mystery a few years ago that people were, because everyone got the same fabric and not everyone loved all the fabrics. And so that was too much control for some people to have let go. So are you willing to accept that I get to pick the fabric, but I can't control the final design? In that instance, make sure when you're signing up for a mystery, you're taking a look at the aesthetic of previous mystery quilts. Look at the reveals. Is that something that you would like? They tend to kind of be in the same tone and aesthetic. Sometimes, most of the times, but are you okay with the design aesthetic that you see and retaining control of your fabric choice? Or are you willing to, like the Bonnie Hunter mystery is going on right now. This is an annual mystery. It happens between Thanksgiving and Christmas every year. In that situation, she'll give you paint chips and you get to pick your own fabrics. And so are you okay taking, I have enough control over this paint chip, but not necessarily the fabrics. And are you okay with the final design? And are you okay knowing, and going into her mystery, it's going to be about 800 to 900 parts that you're going to be cutting, stitching, trimming, and sewing together, because that's something you know. Are you going to be okay with that final design? And so when it comes to a mystery, just how much control you're willing to let go. Now, if you're someone, you need to know, have complete control over design, complete control over fabric, and complete control over technique, I would strongly, strongly suggest not doing a mystery. That is something that is going to be a recipe for failure and frustration for you, and you're going to put a lot of time and effort into something that you are not going to like. However, if you're willing to let loose and have some fun, then there are a ton of mystery programs that can be fit your style and fit how much control you are willing to let go. All right. Let's see here. I'm going to read through some of these comments, because I think my question about if someone snuck into your room and finished all your whips, I think that's giving people some thoughts out here. So people are saying that if someone took all their projects, they would I'd need bail money. I feel like you could take your projects and sell them. Let's see here. Marcia would be sad, but she would buy more projects. Chloe says she has too many whips to count, but I do count everything, even if I haven't finished sourcing the fabric. I would not want anyone to finish any of my in process, nor would I feel comfortable finishing anyone else's. That's an interesting. So if you had the choice, okay, so let's play this game out. Now I'm kind of liking this path. So say you got at your quilting bestie, you guys swapped quilt rooms, and you had the option to finish everyone's UFOs. How would that make you feel? Would you be okay with your bestie coming in and finishing up all those projects that are lurking for you? Ellen Ford says she wouldn't mind that the elves finish her quilts, then she can start a few more, right? I think that's just like self-perpetuating. Like if there's now room, now you have room on your shelf, so you might as well put stuff in it, right? Let's see here. Deb Jean says she would have to start a lot more. I like unfinished, so I finish one. It's finally a joy. Let's see here. Pattern doesn't matter. Oh, Joe Mosley, that's a fantastic idea. If you love fabric and love learning new techniques, then the pattern should not matter. That is fantastic. If you love the process, then the pattern at the end should not matter. Chloe says she's a control freak, but she loves that Cotton Cut sells extra fabric in the box after the reveal. It's fantastic. Catherine says she also has the fear that she won't like the finished product, but when she watches the finished shows, there's never a quilt that I don't like. So I think I'll be okay with the Cotton Cuts mystery. Fantastic, Catherine. That's fantastic. Oh my God, you guys this is awesome. And hello everyone. Crystal Foster, how are you today? My color opposite favorite buddy. Okay, those are our questions for today. So if you have a question for us for next week, go to cottoncuts.com/live, submit your question. We'll answer it live here. And this has been a fantastic thought process rabbit hole we've been down. So I love all of this. All right. Shipping updates. So what have we shipped in the past week? So it has actually been an interesting ship week here at Cotton Cuts. We have shipped our snippets and we've shipped our Clue 5. However, you guys, I want to be super transparent about all this. That snow has really messed up the Midwest. We had 2 snowstorms in a row. There was 13 inches in Madison when we were there over Thanksgiving and 2 inches this week. So things are moving a little slow. We had 2 days where we had absolutely no mail pickup. We had stuff on the dock, but we did not have a mail carrier that can make it to us to come pick us up. So mail is in this winter snarl. So I know if you're living in places like Nevada or Arizona and stuff isn't coming to you because it's sunny and warm and beautiful, guys, it is truly not super great in the Midwest for weather. So make sure that you're being extra patient. Fabric is coming. It was all shipped. It is our intention to get it to you. So just a little extra patience this time of year would be awesome. So like I said, we shipped those snippets. We have also shipped our Under the Sea snippets. And so I want to make sure you guys heard this and it didn't get lost, but we are doing a special snippet that has Under the Sea fabrics in it. So you get to pick your colorway and we'll ship you a snippet of those fabrics every month. So say it's a colorway you love, you can get a little boost of the snippets, which these ones, since they're off Rosie, the new die cutters, they're wider, they're bigger, they're chunkier. Or perhaps there was a colorway that sold out before you could get to it and you really love those fabrics. You can get a snippet membership for those because we have those parts and pieces for those colorways that sold out really quickly. You can get a snippet. Go to the website.com, cottoncuts.com/snippet and learn more about all of that. And then let's see here. Oh yeah, it's 13 to 15 ounces. It's 2.5 yards if it's continuous. This is fantastic. This is great. Clue 5, as I put out in that social post, guys, we mailed that on Wednesday. We got that in the loading dock. Literally, like the last bin went out as soon as the mail carrier came in. So that all went out ahead of the storm. It went out ahead of all the snow. It went out ahead of the holiday. So we're hoping that most Clue 5s have been received by now. Like I said, if it's not there, just give it just a little bit extra. The holiday is messing everything up. We love that. I mean, it's Clue 5, guys. We're midway through. Can you believe that? I know we're talking Field of Dreamers and we just finished Flyaway, but Under the Sea, still kind of cruising along in the background. And then we had, we dusted off our YouTube live sales. And it was so much fun, you guys. Thank you for joining me for that. It was an awesome time. I always have a good time on those shows. We always have fun stuff and we have giveaways and we have things going on. So our next one that we are going to do is going to be December 12th, which if I'm looking at the calendar correctly, is going to be next Friday at 1:00 Central Time. We will have all new stuff. It's going to be all new theme. Who knows what sort of costumes might come out of the closet, you guys. It's going to be a good time. You're going to want to join us on YouTube. There is a registration link that you need to go to because some of you have different given names than your YouTube names because your YouTube names are silly, which is fine and fantastic and great. We just need to make sure we're matching up your name to your email, to your mailing address so we get your stuff. Melissa Feldhaus is saying she never got her invoice for the YouTube live sale. So our team is going to look into that, Melissa, and we will get back to you. We'll follow up. Don't worry about that. We will get you taken care of because we want you to have the awesome fabric that you claimed. That's part of the gig. Okay, so what's happening in the shop now? As you guys have been hearing all week, we are launching Field of Dreamers today and tomorrow. So we had a whole entire show on Tuesday where we talked about all the colorways and all the add-ons and all the bonuses. And you guys, I had to make a list because we keep adding more and more and more fun stuff. So for Field of Dreamers, we have pillowcase kits. So we actually have a burrito pillowcase kit. You can see the fabrics. There's going to be a body and a flange and an accent trim. We have a mystery colorway. So this came back from folks that are really truly they're ultimately letting control in the mystery project. They're going to let us pick their colorways for them. So you guys, there's a mystery colorway. We had the option. We heard from a lot of folks that you want to get snail mail. So if you prepay for your mystery, you want to be able to go to the mailbox and actually have a printed hard copy clue. So we've taken care of that. That is going to be coming on this round for the mystery. And then we also have, we heard border kits, right? So border kits make your quilts bigger. We wanted to give you the option to see those fabrics ahead of time. So all those images are on the website. You guys, we've been doing a lot of updates and improvements for Field of Dreamers. You guys give us feedback. We make changes. Everyone's happy. It is awesome. And we keep going. Today was signups for those that finished the Flyaway Puzzle Mystery Quilt. So if you finished Flyaway, okay, so I'm gonna clarify that. Not if you finish Flyaway. If you made it to the end of Flyaway. We all know those whips and those things are still kind of lurking in the background. But if you finished Flyaway, then you have the option to sign up for Field of Dreamers today. So we've had lots of people going to the super secret special link, signing up for their colorways, getting other extras. That's awesome. Tomorrow at 7 a.m. and it's Central Standard Time. So I want to make sure that you guys, it's Central Standard Time. We're not on daylight time. So if you're outside the United States, make sure that you're in the right time zone, 7 a.m. Some colorways will sell out. And so I want to make sure that you guys are paying attention to that. Now, this morning, I can tell you, we've already had some pillowcase kits sell out. So since this is the first time we're doing it, we put a few up on the website. We allocated a certain amount of fabric for it. And I can tell you guys some pillowcase kits are sold out. I'm sorry if you were a lullaby person, that purple fabric is awesome. I cannot get any more of that fabric. So pillowcase kits are sold out. Golden Hour, I think, is sold out of a single pillowcase. I still think you can get two. So Terry, yes. So for Field of Dreamers, it goes live for everyone tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. You can go and get your extras today. So if you're really worried about that pillowcase kit and you know you're going to be at 7 a.m. and get that colorway, go ahead and go buy that today. But it's one of those things, we had no idea how that would work, but it did, and you guys are loving it. So that's something we'll definitely look at expanding going forward. Let's see here. So Terry did Flyaway. Should I get the early sign up? So yes, you should have gotten it. Okay, so a couple ways in which you'll know your early access. So it would have been in your Clue 10 email. So the email that you received for Clue 10 for Flyaway had the early access link and codes and whatnot in that. There was also an insert. So if you have a month-to-month Clue 10, there was an insert in that. If you got a backing or a border kit, there was an insert in that package as well. And then the other piece is it was an email that was sent on Tuesday this week that has all this information to it. So we try to get it to you as much as possible, as many points in times, because things get lost and things get twisted. And then evidently we sent another email this morning because there was a lot of confusion about, we've been sending a lot of emails, guys. Super sorry about that. We wanted to make sure everyone has all the information. And when people don't get the emails, we have to redo a whole bunch of stuff. Let's see here. Kim Martin. I know. I hear you about this Clue 10. Carrie's working on it. I think we've rebuilt it. I think we've mailed it out, right? I think Carrie, she's okay. I'm getting the nod, Kim. I think you're going to get taken care of. I'm so very sorry about that. It should be on its way. Yes, there'll be a pattern for the pillowcase kit. It's going to be a simple burrito method, as straightforward. We've used that method to French seam those pillowcase kits. It's fantastic. So yes, there will definitely be a pattern for the pillowcase kit. Let's see here. Pastry Queen, fantastic, says she put out a video on her YouTube feed. So check out Pastry Queen Farm Adventures and see if you can get more details about the Puzzle Mystery Quilt as well. So is it live as of this morning for early signups? Yes. So Terry, it is live as of this morning. We've had a lot of people already go and sign up and grab their colorways. Nothing sells out on the first day. So you have all day to get this link, to get signed up. Everyone take a deep breath. I know there was a lot of like 7 a.m. this morning, guys. It's okay. It's okay. Nothing sells out on the first day. Just take a break. Take a breath. Go get a cup of coffee. Relax. It's just a puzzle mystery quilt. It's just fabric. All right. Let's see here. All right. So you guys have already been commenting your colorways if you've gotten them. It's absolutely fun and fantastic. I do have one more quick thing before we jump into the main heart. Yeah, just breathe, Melissa. Yes, just breathe. Before we jump into the heart. So this is on my desk. So I'm assuming I'm supposed to show you guys. So this is the December Java bundle. So Java is going to ship on the 10th, which is going to be next week. It is reds and greens. I love when Hoffman puts together the traditional red and green batiks. This is fantastic. Java will ship next week on the 10th. Make sure you get signed up. 12 coordinated fat quarters, just like you see here. And she's got the link on the screen, cottoncuts.com/java-batiks. Okay. Pat Vizino is saying, I looked at the borders. Is the border kits 2 fabrics or is it just showing it next to a backing? So Pat, there are our border kits. In order to make your quilt bigger, in order to expand the size, we always have a narrow border and a wider border. And so in those images, the narrow border is going to be the first border that'll be against your quilt. And then the wider border will be the finishing border, the last border. We also include a little bit of binding fabric left over. People are like, what is this little bit of binding fabric? Well, because you've added borders, you've now made your quilt bigger and you need more fabric for binding. So we give you just a little bit more to add around the outside just to make sure that it's complete and you can finish it. Because it would be terrible if we just gave you the binding that was included in the kit and you were like this much short on the end. So let's not have any of that shenanigans. It is inner border, it is outer border, and it is enough binding to complete the full perimeter of your quilt. Let's see here. Michelle got Fairy Tale and Pink Moon. That's fantastic. Let's see here. You know, Chloe, we're trying. We're trying to keep it together. And a week like this week, we try to think of as much things as possible. But if we miss anything, simply ask. You guys can call into the shop. Please don't try to call right now while I'm live because the phones are unplugged. So that way we're not taking live phone calls during the show. But as soon as this show is off, the phones will be plugged back in. Please call us. All right. So today we are talking about the Tim Holtz Painter's Palette Program. And so we're celebrating a finish. It is not, we're not having a big reveal. This is a celebration of a project that was 13 months in the making. Supposed to be 12, ended up being 13, which is fine and fantastic and amazing. Let's see here. Stephanie Smith asks, is the binding the bottom color? Yes, the binding is always in the 6 o'clock position on the color wheel. So Tim Holtz. So let's start talking. I want to go through kind of the background. As we're celebrating Tim Holtz today, let's go through all of it. So who is Tim Holtz? This is a name, right? It's like Tula Pink. Who is Tula Pink? So Tim Holtz is actually, he's a pattern, a surface designer. And he started out in scrapbooking. And so when we first started talking about Tim Holtz, Carrie was like, I do a lot of scrapbooking with Tim Holtz fabric, with Tim Holtz designs. And so he started out in paper crafts. And then he was contracted to work for a fabric manufacturer, worked for a couple companies, is currently at Free Spirit. And he takes his surface designs and puts them on fabric. And one of that sets him apart is he does a lot of vintage. He does a lot of antique. He does a lot of collage. There's actually a lot of history in the Tim Holtz fabrics. And so as you've been receiving these prints over the past year, there's a lot of history. There's a lot of botany. There's some education. It is not truly a traditional quilt pattern, which is pick a pattern and repeat the design ad infinitum. There's a lot of actual subtext and storytelling in these fabrics. And when this project was presented to us by Free Spirit, it was, hey, we're going to do a program. We're going to call it Painter's Palette. And every month for 12 months, we're going to release 10 prints that are color coordinated. And so it's going to start with pink, and it's going to go red, orange, yellow, green, indigo, all the way through to the end. And each month is going to be 10 prints of his that are going to be colorized to be harmonious. We're going to keep 4 of the prints the same. So there was a collage, there was a stamps, there was a tickets, and there was a map. Those 4 prints were the same every month, but then 6 additional prints that Tim Holtz got to print and got to recolorize together. And so I'm going to show you guys the yellow, for example, so you guys can see what that looks like. So here's the yellow, right? And so in this, these are 4 of the 10 prints that were released in the month that was yellow. And we thought this was fantastic. Like at Cotton Cuts, we love when we hear manufacturers doing cool stuff like this. This is very cool. This is not something that a lot of manufacturers are doing, right? This is a year-long program. And when we looked at this, we're like, we really want to do something with this. One of the things I like about Cotton Cuts is that we can encourage you guys to do things that you might not have access to do, or that you might want to do but might not know how to start, right? I've seen Tim Holtz prints for years. I didn't know how to start with these fabrics. They are awesome, but I didn't know what to do with them. And I was like, let's see if we can start breaking down some barriers to get people to start experimenting with new fabrics and doing new things. And so in this case, when we saw this, we came up with a program that was in, we'll call it 3 parts. So the first Tim Holtz part was a block of the month. And so what we did is we die cut triangles and squares of all 10 of the prints, and we sent these to you guys. And each month we sent you enough fabric to make 3 of these little baby 8-inch blocks. They're just little, they're 8.5 by 8.5. They're so like dainty and so cute, right? And we sent you enough parts to be able to do this. We loved the way his fabrics looked in a sawtooth star design. And so that was really the foundation for a lot of our program, was that it was a sawtooth star design. And we would send you all 10 of those fabrics. And then, because we didn't want to be too prescriptive, we said, make stuff, right? And I know that's fun for some people and not fun for others, but we said, make stuff. And so we gave you the pattern on how to make this sawtooth star, as well as the sashing that you would need for each block. But we gave you guys, we said, this is what we think you can do. Shake up the pattern in here and do whatever you want to do on the inside, or just shuffle all these parts and pieces and make your own blocks. And so there were some people that stuck true to the sawtooth star. Mine are hanging up here. My large blocks that I made are hanging behind me. And you can see for me, I have to follow some measure of rigid pattern. And so I kept these 2 points the same in all of my blocks because I liked the way that looked. But then when we created our Facebook group, we saw people who were like shuffling up the parts and pieces. We would give you extra parts and pieces as well, so that way you guys could create whatever you wanted. But this was our block of the month. And so each month for 12 months, we would give you enough fabric to make these squares. And at the end, 36 blocks would be done and be ready for final assembly. And so that's the phase we're at right now, is we're starting to see people who are finishing up and who are taking their 36 finished blocks and coming up with sometimes rainbow gradient layouts, sometimes randomized layouts, sometimes row and row and row. And I love that there's that creative flexibility with these programs. It's not prescriptive. Not everyone's going to make the same thing at the end of the day. And even when we did our island hopping reveal yesterday, I'm seeing designs on Facebook that we didn't even come up with. And I love that this community is embracing that creative challenge to come up with something that is true to them. Melissa, I stayed with the star too. I wanted to paint within the lines, but I also wanted to have some creative freedom. And so there were some fabrics that I loved and some that I didn't. And so I kept those aside. And so I love that we're embracing these creative challenges and willing to play with the fabric and letting the fabric sing to us, inspire us, and be able to create things that are unique to us. The red colorway gives me love letters for Valentine's Day. Yes, I feel like the red is very Valentine's-like. That is for dang sure. All right. So the first part was the, choose your own adventure block of the month, 36 blocks that we were able to put together. Then the second thing that we did was we created pillows. So these little guys behind me are 24-inch pillows. They're meant to be bigger pillows. So say, for example, you didn't want to do all 12 colors. You just wanted to pick one. You really liked the indigo, or you like the pink, or you like the red. you could make a 24-inch pillow or a mini quilt. And we gave you enough backing and binding and sashing in order to be able to do all of that each month. Now, that wasn't a subscription. So say you saw the fabrics and you wanted to buy it, you could hop on the website and grab it. So I think we only have maybe 7 of mine up here today. So I'm going to be stitching those into a big quilt. And so it's going to be a large block quilt. We're going to talk more about that in a second. But the idea is you've got these big triangles, you can stitch them together, and you can just set them aside. The third thing we did was we created stitchets. And so stitchets are the Cotton Cuts version of a Lego box of just general parts and pieces. So we had triangles and we had squares, and we put all these fabrics together in a stitchet box. And we said, okay, this is truly a canvas for you guys to play with. Get a design wall, put all the fabric up, come up with a different square, come up with a different row, come up with a different block of design, and really play with these fabrics and create an artist palette for yourself. And so we thought those were the kind of 3 very Cotton Cuts friendly projects for these fabrics that we could use and really highlight the beauty of them, but also the creativity of the community that exists within you guys. And so here we are at the end. It's been 12 months, gang. It's actually 13. So I'm going to talk about that for a little bit. The project intended to be a 12-month project. And so we internally, whenever a manufacturer says, hey, we've got this program and it's starting in October and it's going to be great, we say, that's great for us. We're going to start it a month or 2 later. So we always add a month or 2 safety stock to all these dates that were given. And Free Spirit, they had us going. They were late to start. So they actually ate into all of our safety time in the first month before the program even started. And we worked really, really hard to keep up. And then they had to delay again. And then they had to delay again. And so these things happen, guys. This is the state of the world we're in. It is totally fine. I cannot thank you guys enough for your patience with us as our team has been working really hard to stay on time to make sure we're getting you guys the fabric and meeting our commitments to you guys. But this was a challenge for Free Spirit. And I think that's probably part of the reason why we don't see more programs like this with manufacturers is because once they make the year-long commitment, they have to make a year-long commitment. And there's a lot of things they can't control in their supply chain. I am so thankful this worked out for us. I am thankful it worked out for you guys. I am thankful it was only 1 month delay. It could have been much worse. Our team, like I said, we started with a safety stock at the beginning. We burned through it pretty fast. We got back on track. But you guys, it was so much fun. And I am so inspired every time I click over into that Tim Holtz Facebook group and see what you guys are working on. All right, let's see here. But you guys are awesome and you were patient and it's fabric and it's not the end of the world if it's like 2 weeks late. So thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for your patience throughout this program. Everyone starts with the best of intentions and there's only you can only control what you can control. Okay, so what I want to talk about is, so here's like a whole bunch of blocks behind me, right? They're so stinking cute. They're awesome. So what does that mean now? Like say you're seeing this for the first time and you missed out or you weren't sure or you were hesitant. And so what I want to tell you guys is we have a whole bunch of stuff on the website for the Tim Holtz project. So if you are a current participant and you're looking for an extra yard or 2 or, you know, this or that, it's all on the website. Make sure you go to it's cottoncuts.com/ and it's Tim Holtz. Paula, yeah, right there, Tim Holtz. We have all the extra yardage. So if you're in the process of finishing and say you don't want to put the collage around the border, you want to get some extra fabrics, or you want to add cornerstones or additional borders or additional sashing, all of that's on the website now. Now, I have also added, and it's a super small number. So if you missed out on these baby pieces, if you missed out on the baby block of the month, the 36 blocks, there's a limited number of those that are on the website right now too. So again, cottoncuts.com/Tim Holtz. When you get there, you're going to see it. It is an entire project. You're going to get 36 of these blocks to play with however you choose. It'll be all 12 months. It'll be all 12 colors. It is on the website right now. The third thing is I have created a special product listing that is just these big blocks that is going to make a big block quilt. So it doesn't have all the extra stuff in the pillows. It doesn't have the backing. It is going to be enough to do the blocks and the binding. The quilt itself is going to finish 72 inches by 96 inches. Each one of these blocks is 24 inches square. You are going to get enough fabric in each one to be able to pick and choose which ones you want in and out of each block. you'll have extras left over. So I'm sure with extras left over, you could probably get a block or two for the back or maybe a coordinating pillow. That's only $125, guys. So again, a small number of those guys are on the website now. If you missed out and you want to join late, or now that you've seen all of them, you're odd and as animated as we are, definitely go to the website and check those out. And then all of our stitchets and all of our pillowcase kits are on sale for the next couple of days. So $35 instead of $40. This project has been a lot of fun, you guys. I am inspired. I see these fabrics. I never know what to do with them. Now I know what to do with them. And I have more courage next time I see fabrics like this to go ahead and jump in and have and actually try them. So we're going to be doing a giveaway opportunity on our website. And it's going to be mostly in the Tim Holtz Facebook group. But if you put it in Cotton Cuts Fabric, it'll still count. So if you are a participant in these programs, if you're a participant in the block of the month, and you are able to finish your design in the next week, by the time we have our show next Thursday, we're going to give everyone who finishes and posts a picture of the top, the flimsy, a $25 gift card. So if you can get it done and you can post a picture of the flimsy, everyone's going to get a $25 gift card that gets that done. Yes, everyone. Paula did not write that in the notes. I changed it because I didn't want we're just not going to recognize one person. If you finish all your Tim Holtz blocks and you put it in your flimsy top and get a picture posted on social media where we can see it, you'll get a $25 gift card to the shop. So you can go and grab some other stuff. Yeah, Savannah, I mean, this is right. We do these projects because we want you guys to finish them. We don't want them to be UFOs. We don't want them to be things you're still working on in 10 years. And so if you finish it, $25 gift card to the shop. Let's see. And I think that's everything on the Tim Holtz stuff. Yes. So we love it. $25, post the picture, and I don't think we're going to announce it on the live next week, but we'll put out a social post. So you guys are going to get a $25 gift card. Yes, Jana, a week is pretty fast. So this is a good test of have you guys been keeping up and have you guys used your safety time effectively? Now, I'm seeing people talk about fancy English fabric because that is, the what follows Tim Holtz, right? Cotton Cuts has been doing these kind of annual projects for a while. So we started with the gnomes, then we did floral states, and now we've done Tim Holtz. And so I can share with you guys that coming in April of 2026, now it's April, again, hinging upon the fabric manufacturer, getting the fabric in place and getting it to us. But we are targeting for April 2026 to start a Liberty Fabric Block of the Month program. And so, yes, Liberty, Chloe, is exactly right. It is going to be a Liberty Fabric Block of the Month. And so in true Cotton Cuts fashion, we are going to be die cutting parts and pieces. It'll be similar to this, but different, because why would we do the same thing twice, right? So we're going to cut up some Liberty fabric for you, and there'll be an option for something like this with the block of the month. We're still finalizing the design. It is so cute. I love it so much. But this one, we're also going to be doing something new. There will be a foundation paper pieced element to this project as well. So you will have your choice. You can do a pre-cut like block of the month, like Tim Holtz was, like Floral States was, or you will have an option to do a foundation paper pieced version using Liberty fabrics. And so this gets to that whole scheme of, I've seen Liberty fabrics. I know you guys have. They're expensive. Once a fabric hits a certain threshold and price, you're afraid to cut into it. You don't want to make a mistake. You don't want to make an error, or you don't have access to it. The local quilt shop by you doesn't have it, and then by the time you pay shipping, it's right? So we want to break down as many of those hurdles as we can so you guys can actually start using these fabrics as intended. And Liberty is a fantastic fabric. We're using the Riley Blake version of Liberty. So we're not using lawn or Tana. So it's going to be quilting cotton. It'll be Riley Blake version of Liberty. So the Liberty designs on quilting cotton. So don't have to worry about, all the shine and the finish that you would if you went to the Liberty store in London. But you guys, this is something that it's access is hard. Getting all the prints you want is hard. And we want to try and take down as many of those barriers as possible. And, get you guys to try something new that you wouldn't normally have tried yourself. That's really that makes me happy. That makes me excited. That makes me energized. Okay, let's see. So that's the big announcement is the what's coming next. The big finish for Tim Holtz. We've got a whole bunch of stuff on the website if you missed out. Michelle, so I don't know how you find all the time to think it up, prepare it, ship it, and celebrate all the steps along the way. Great to have Cotton Cuts. Yeah, so we don't sleep here. So I feel like that's how we get it all done is we just don't sleep. And so we are doing it for you guys because we are inspired by all the things you guys are doing and you guys keep us happy. What is the deal with the extra border fabric? That confuses me. Okay, so Michelle, I'm going to answer this question. If it doesn't, we're about to sign off. So if it does not answer your question, send an email to help@cottoncuts and Carrie will get you taken care of. So if you're doing the puzzle mystery quilt, we always offer an extra border kit. So it adds extra borders, a narrow border and a bigger border just to make your quilt bigger. So say you want something bigger than a throw, say you want to make it a king or a queen, we give extra border kits. We sell those to make them bigger. And so that way you can, it also finishes and frames your quilt too. It gives it a nice kind of finishing touch. So if you have more questions about that, send a note to help@cottoncuts and they will get you sorted. So you guys have hung with me to the end of the show, which is awesome and amazing. And as we do every week, we're going to give a $25 gift card to someone who finds this video on Instagram, on YouTube, or Facebook and answers this question. What type of fabric, designer, or a color do you typically avoid using but would want to use, and why do you avoid using it? And so I picked this question because I like the idea of like Tim Holtz is something that I've always admired, but I wouldn't know what to do with it. Or Liberty is something I've always admired it, but I wouldn't know what to do with it. So what type of fabric do you typically avoid using, but would want to use and just don't know where to start? And why do you typically avoid using it? So answer that question. We're going to give a $25 gift card to someone who shares their answer with us on any of the places you found this video. And I think that's it for me, guys. Of course, big reminder, Field of Dreamers tomorrow. Our next YouTube live sale is on December 12th. Tim Holtz Quilts, $25 gift card, a limited number of stuff in the shop. If you guys want to go pop over, and it's not too late to get in on this. However, I have a feeling in about 2 weeks, it might be too late. So make sure you guys get in on all of that. Oh, I'm seeing Melissa says she avoids big floral prints like Kafe. So I feel like I've heard big floral prints. You just got to cut it smaller, right? Just cut it small and you get over all those fears. All right. Orange, because hard to find orange color with great designs. Agree. Australian quilting prints are gorgeous, but I would have the hardest time cutting into them. I agree, Savannah. It's those fabrics that you buy that are gorgeous that you have trouble cutting into. They are my kryptonite. Okay. That is it for me, guys. That is our third live this week. We're going to give the set a rest. We're going to turn off the lights. We're going to recharge some of the bulbs, and we will see you guys next week on Thursday for our regularly scheduled live. Everyone have a fantastic weekend. Get lots and lots of sewing done, and we will see you next week. Bye now. And cut. Thank you so much for watching our video. We have so much fun making these, and we hope that you were both delighted and inspired by what you just watched. This video was sponsored by Cotton Cuts. Cotton Cuts is your one stop for all the best fabric and thread memberships. Love fabric? We've got you covered. Love thread? We've got you covered. We get that no two quilters are cut from the same cloth, which is why our memberships are as unique as you. We also have the largest block of the month in the world. Over 4,000 detectives solve our puzzle mystery quilts every year, and you can join them. Simply go to cottoncuts.com to learn more about all the awesome and fun things that we're doing. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe to make sure you get all of our new fresh content every time it comes out. Thank you so much. Happy sewing enthusiasts, and we will see you soon. Bye now.